Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 31, Text 33. Satyam Shocham Dayamonam Buddhi Shrir Yashaha Shama Shamo Damo Bhagga Cheti Yat Sangat Yati Samshayam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He becomes devoid of truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, gravity, spiritual intelligence, shyness, austerity, fame, forgiveness, control of the mind, control of the senses, fortune, and all such opportunities. Those who are too addicted to sex life cannot understand the purpose of the absolute truth, nor can they be clean in their habits, not to mention showing mercy to others. They cannot remain grave, and they have no interest in the ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of life is Krishna or Vishnu, but those who are addicted to sex life cannot understand that their ultimate interest is Krishna consciousness. So what's keeping us here is the sex desire, the lust. That's what's keeping us here in the material world. So there is gross lusty desires. There's also subtle lusty desires, which we may not even be aware that are in our heart, but it's there. And so that's why we are recommended to continue hearing and chanting about Krishna, so that even the subtle desires that are there can be purified. Such people have no sense of decency, and even in public streets or public parks, they embrace each other just like cats and dogs and pass it off in the name of lovemaking. Such unfortunate creatures can never become materially prosperous. Behavior like that of cats and dogs keeps them in the position of cats and dogs. They cannot improve any material condition, not to speak of becoming famous. Such foolish persons may even make a show of so-called yoga, but they are unable to control the senses and mind, which is the real purpose of yoga practice. Such people have no opulence in their lives. In a word, they are very fortunate. So what we are being recommended, Prabhupada is saying, at least we should control our mind and senses. Control of mind and senses is the first thing if we want to engage in any type of yoga. Ashtanga yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Gyan Yoga. Control of mind and senses. When we control mind and senses, then we will be able to practice the spiritual practice, and materially also we will be prosperous. Because when our mind and senses are controlled, then we will know how to act in a proper way. Then acting in a proper way, our material condition will improve. That's what's the point here. Teshva ashanteshu muddeshu thandi tatmasab asadushu sangam na kuryat chokshyeshu yoshit kridam mrigeshu cha. One should not associate with a coarse fool who is bereft of the knowledge of self-realization and who is no more than a dancing dog in the hands of a woman. The restriction of association with such foolish persons is especially meant for those who are in the line of advancement in Krishna consciousness. Advancement in Krishna consciousness involves developing the qualities of truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, gravity, intelligence in spiritual knowledge, simplicity, material opulence, fame, forgiveness, and control of the mind and senses. All these qualities are to be manifested with the progress of Krishna consciousness. But if one associates with a Shudra, a foolish person, who is like a dancing dog in the hands of a woman, then he cannot make any progress. So association, yesterday we were speaking about association. Who should we associate with? The scriptures always encourage us to associate with the devotees. Why? Because the devotees are always engaged in devotional service. They carry the Lord in their hearts. And when we associate with the pure devotees who are carrying the Lord in the hearts, we are associating with the Lord. And this will open our doors to liberation. So Lord Chaitanya has advised that any person who's engaged in Krishna consciousness and who desires to pass beyond material nations must not associate himself with women or persons interested in material enjoyment. For a person seeking advancement in Krishna consciousness, such association is more dangerous than suicide. So how we use our time, who are we associating with, is important. Na tathasya bhavenmoho bandhaschanya prasangataha yoshit sangat yatha pumso yatha tat sangi sangataha. The infatuation and bondage which accrue to a man from attachment to any other object is not as complete as that resulting from attachment to a woman or to the fellowship of men who are fond of women. Attachment to women is so contaminating that one becomes attached to the condition of material life, not only by the association of women, but by the contaminant association of persons who are too attached to them. So then if women are reading, they'll say, oh, well, that's okay. You know, I don't have to be attached to women. That's okay. I'm not attached to women either. I like men. But for the man, it's the woman. And for the woman, it's the man. Yes, that's the way it is. So there are many reasons for our conditional life in the material world, but the topmost of all such causes is the association of women, as will be confirmed in the following stanzas. In Kali Yuga, association with women is very strong. In every step of life, there is association with women. If a person goes to purchase something, the advertisements are full of pictures of women. You know, even for advertisements of cars, even for cars, they'll put a woman there. Nothing, she has nothing to do with the car, but they'll put a woman. Why? Because the idea comes in the person's head. Ah, if I get such a nice car, I will get a nice, beautiful looking woman. The physiological attraction for women is very great, and therefore people are very slack in spiritual understanding. The Vedic civilization, being based on spiritual understanding, arranges association with women very cautiously. So in the Vedic society, there was no unrestricted mixing of men and women. Why? Just so that it can help us not to get too attached to be here in the material world. It's not degrading anyone. It's just so that we don't get too attached. Out of the 4 social divisions, the members of the first order, namely Brahmacharya, the third order, Vanaprastha, and the fourth order, Sannyas, are strictly prohibited from female association. Only in one order, the householder is the license to mix with women under restricted conditions. In other words, attraction for women's association is the cause of the material conditional life. And anyone interested in being free from this conditional life must detach himself from the association of women. So for the man, it's the woman, and for the woman, it's the man. And that's what keeps us here in the material world, increases our attachment. Anyways, we are so attached. This really binds us. Prajapati swam duhitaram drishtva tadrupadharshitaha rohit bhutam so anvadhavad riksha rupi hatatripaha. At the sight of his own daughter, Brahma was bewildered by her charms and shamelessly ran up to her in the form of a stag when she took the form of a hind. Lord Brahma is being captivated by the charms of his daughter, and Lord Shiva is being captivated by the Mohini form of the Lord, are specific instances which instruct us that even great demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva, what to speak of the ordinary conditioned soul, are captivated by the beauty of woman. So even Lord Brahma, he got so attracted to his daughter. And that's how then he gave up this bodies, different bodies he was giving up. We read earlier in the Bhagavatam. Well, giving up the body means he gave up that mentality. And Lord Shiva got attracted to Mohini Murti. Mohini Murti is incarnation of Krishna. So even Maya Devi, Parvati, is not able to attract Lord Shiva. But when Lord Krishna took the form of a woman, then Lord Shiva could not hold himself. He got so attracted to her. And then when he came to his senses, he was like, oh my God, I'm so happy that I'm your servant, that you are my master. You are so glorious. Lord Shiva didn't say, oh, you defeated me, you attracted me, you fooled me, defeated me. No, Lord Shiva was glorifying the Lord. Said, oh, you are so glorious that you are my master and I am your servant. So therefore, everyone is advised that one should not freely mix even with one's daughter, mother, or sister, because the senses are so strong that when one becomes infatuated, the senses do not consider the relationship of daughter, mother, or sister. It is best, therefore, to practice controlling the senses by performing Bhakti Yoga, engaging in the service of Madan Mohan. So, Bhakti means engaging the senses in the service of master of the senses. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Rochyate. By our ears, we hear about the Lord. That is Bhakti. By our tongue, we chant his holy names. That is Bhakti. By our eyes, we see the deity form of the Lord, or with our hands, we worship the deity. So this is how we can engage our senses in the service of the master of the senses, Madan Mohan. Madan Mohan. Lord Krishna's name is Madan Mohan, for he can subdue the god Cupid or lust. Only by engaging in the service of Madan Mohan can one curb the dictates of Madan Cupid. Otherwise, attempts to control the senses will fail. So Madan is Cupid. Krishna attracts Cupid, and that's why he's called Madan Mohan. Now, Srimati Radharani, she attracts even Krishna. So she's called Madan Mohan Mohini, the attractor, the one who attracts, the attractor of Cupid. So we can see how exalted the position of Srimati Radharani is. Tat Shrishta Shrishta Shishteshu Kon Akhandita Dihi Puman Rishim Narayanam Rite Yoshin Mayeha Mayaya. Amongst all kinds of living entities begotten by Brahma, namely men, demigods, and animals, none but the sage Narayan is immune to the attraction of Maya in the form of woman. The first living creature is Brahma himself, and from him were created sages like Marichi, who in their turn created Kashyap Muni and others. And Kashyap Muni and the Manus created different demigods and human beings, etc. So Lord Brahma, he has the service to progenate the universe. It was all empty. He was the only living creature. So then he brought forth his sons. He said Marichi, then Kashyap Muni came, Manu came, and then like that different demigods were born. Throughout the entire material world, beginning from Brahma down to the small insignificant creatures like the ant, everyone is attracted by sex life. So we conditioned souls. Conditioned souls are all attracted by sex life. Insignificant creature like the ant, it could be from the ant up to Lord Brahma. That is the basic principle of this material world. Lord Brahma's being attracted by his daughter is the vivid example that no one is exempt from sexual attraction to woman. Therefore, woman is the wonderful creation of Maya to keep the conditioned soul in shackles. So this is how Maya captures us. Maya shows us this illusory form. For the man, she shows the form of the woman, and for the woman, she shows the form of the man, and we get captivated. Balam me pashya maya ya stri maya jaino disham ya karoti padakrantan bruvi jrambena kevalam. Just try to understand the mighty strength of my Maya in the shape of woman, who by the mere movement of her eyebrows can keep even the greatest conquerors of the world under her grip. So here again, the Lord is saying, my Maya. The Lord, many places he is saying, even in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Devi hi esha gunamai, that this divine energy of mine. Here also the Lord is saying, Maya, she is mine. So this is what we have to understand, that this universal energy belongs to God, belongs to Krishna. There are many instances in the history of the world of a great conquerors being captivated by the charms of a Cleopatra. So history, if we study history, there's so much. So Cleopatra was there, and then even when we see the Mahabharata, how the kings, because Rukmini was being kidnapped by Krishna, how all the kings started fighting. So the womanly beauty captivates. One has to study the captivating potency of woman and man's attraction for that potency. From what source was this generated? According to Vedanta Sutra, we can understand that everything is generated from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So anything that we see, anything, is created by God. That's what we have to understand. There is nothing or no one that does not belong to God or that is not created by God. If we think something or someone is separate from God, that is Maya. Then we are in Maya. It is enunciated there, Janmadhyasya Yataha. This means that the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the Supreme Person, Brahman, the Absolute Truth, is the source from whom everything emanates. Everything is coming from God. Everything. This material world, the spiritual world, the jivatmas, we, the souls, everything is coming from God. The captivating power of woman and the man's susceptibility to such attraction must also exist in the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the spiritual world and must be represented in the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. So this material world is a perverted reflection. The reality is in the spiritual world. So if something is existing in the reflection, means it exists in truth in the spiritual world. So this attraction between man and woman exists in God. That's the reason we feel it here in the material world. If it did not exist in God, then how would we feel it? This is what we need to understand, that God is a person. Prabhupada writes earlier on, because people think that God is not a person, that's why this sex life has become so much more open everywhere in the world. Without understanding, everything comes from God. God is the origin of everything. The Lord is the Supreme Person, the Supreme Male. As a common male wants to be attracted by a female, that propensity similarly exists in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He also wants to be attracted by the beautiful features of a woman. Now the question is, if he wants to be captivated by such womanly attraction, would he be attracted by any material woman? So this is the point we have to understand, that this attraction exists in God. But his attraction is not to a material woman, not to an ordinary material body. Body cannot attract God. The body is, after all, material. It is not possible. Even persons who are in this material existence can give up womanly attraction if they are attracted by the Supreme Brahman. So if we get attracted to Krishna somehow or the other, we get attracted to Krishna, we can give up this attraction to the opposite sex. Such was the case with Haridas Thakur. A beautiful prostitute tried to attract him in the dead of night. But since he was situated in devotional service, In transcendental love of Godhead, Haridas Thakur was not captivated. Rather, he turned the prostitute into a great devotee by his transcendental association. So the prostitute came to Haridas Thakur 3 nights in a row. She came every night. And she was wearing, her clothing was so arranged to attract the senses of a man. The way she was doing her bodily postures, how sweetly she was speaking, all to attract Haridas Thakur. And she was coming to meet him alone at night. He was alone there. But Haridas Thakur, because he's pure devotee of the Lord, he's already on the platform of love of God. So this womanly beauty cannot attract him. Then what he would tell the prostitute, please wait, my japa is not yet finished. After I finish the japa, surely I will enjoy with you. Haridas Thakur, he chants almost the whole day, 192 rounds. By the time he was still chanting, it would be morning. And then the prostitute would see that he's still chanting and it's already morning, she would go away. Now, what happened in the third morning? See, she came like that 3 nights. And every night the same thing happened. Haridas Thakur would say, can you please wait? I still need to chant. After I finish my chanting, then I can be with you. And by the end of the third morning, she came. She offered obeisances to Haridas Thakur. She said, I'm so sorry. I came here to malign your name. Some people are envious of you that you're such a nice devotee. So they sent me here to spoil your name. But you know what? By listening to your chanting, I want to give up everything. And I accept you as my guru. You please accept me as your disciple. So Haridas Thakur told her, I know for what you were coming. And I could have left earlier, but I stayed back to deliver you. This is the potency of a pure devotee. So then the prostitute became a great Vaishnavi, and people were coming to visit her to see this transformation. So rather, Haridas Thakur was not captivated. Rather, he turned the prostitute into a great devotee by his transcendental association. Therefore, this material attraction certainly cannot attract the Supreme Lord. So, if the pure devotee of the Lord is not attracted by the material beauty, then for sure God is also not attracted by material beauty. God is not attracted by anything material. He's on the transcendental platform. That's the difference. We are attracted by the material. That's why we are here in the material world. When he wants to be attracted by a woman, so now this desire to be attracted by a woman is there in Krishna. So he wants to be attracted by a woman. Then what does he do? He has to create such a woman from his own energy, because nothing material is going to attract him. So his own energy, he creates Srimati Radharani. It is explained by the Goswamis that Radharani is the manifestation of the pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srimati Radharani is Krishna's own internal pleasure potency, Hladini Shakti. She's non-different from Krishna. Why? Because she is his internal energy. When the Supreme Lord wants to derive transcendental pleasure, he has to create a woman from his internal potency. So the pastimes of Radha and Krishna are not ordinary material love affairs as we see in the material world. They are not mundane literature. We see so many movies or novels which are mundane sex or love stories. So loving affairs of Radha and Krishna are not like that. They are on the highest platform of love. And we don't even know how to begin to appreciate such pastimes. We don't know how to understand these pastimes, because they're in such a pure level, we can't even approach them from our state. Narottam Das Thakur, he sings that when I will have the eagerness to read the books of the 6 Goswamis, then I will be able to understand the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna. So the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna are very difficult for us to understand. We, the conditioned souls. So then, when the Supreme Lord wants to derive transcendental pleasure, he has to create a woman from his internal potency. Thus, the tendency to be attracted by womanly beauty is natural because it exists in the spiritual world. Everything we see in the material world exists in the pure form in the spiritual world. In the material world, it is a perverted reflection, but the pure form of it is there in the spiritual world. Like we have real notes and then we have fake notes, you know. So the real thing is in the spiritual world. Here in the material world is all fake reflection, perverted reflection, perverted reflection. I shouldn't say fake because it's there. We are here. It's not false, but it's a perverted reflection. In the material world, it is reflected pervertedly, and therefore there are so many invarieties. This is what we need to understand. Instead of being attracted by material beauty, if one is accustomed to being attracted by the beauty of Radharani and Krishna, then the statement of Bhagavad Gita, Param Drishtva Nivartate, holds true. So we are attracted to the material world. We are attracted to the material beauty. But we should try to cultivate our attraction to Radha and Krishna by seeing the beautiful deity forms, how they are so beautifully decorated. When one is attracted by the transcendental beauty of Radha and Krishna, he is no longer attracted by material feminine beauty. That is the special significance of Radha Krishna worship. That is testified to by Yamunacharya. He says, since I have become attracted by the beauty of Radha and Krishna, when there is attraction for a woman or a memory of sex life with a woman, I at once spit on it and my face turns in disgust. So Yamunacharya, he was a king before, so he had many opportunities to engage in sex. Then later he became a great acharya in the line of Ramanujacharya, Sri Vaishnava. And he's saying that because he developed this pure attraction for Radha and Krishna. So he is not any more attracted to the material world. When we are attracted by Madan Mohan and the beauty of Krishna and his consorts, then the shackles of conditioned life, namely the beauty of a material woman, cannot attract us. So if we at all want to give up our attraction for this material world, we need to cultivate our attraction for Krishna. The more we hear about him, the more we chant his names, remember him, worship his deity, the more we can be attracted to him. And to that degree, our attraction, our attachment to this material world will slacken. Is that all right?
Yeah. And I would just also like to tell you one thing, which I heard yesterday about Amarendra Prabhu in connection with this. Like, as you said, that this world is the reflection, the perverted reflection. So he said that when you see the reflection of the mango, then do you see the real mango? You know that the mango is there, right? But when you have the real mango, you don't want to see the reflection. So the real mango is the spiritual world and the reflection. So the purpose of the reflection is to make you remember always the real thing. So the purpose of this world is that we always connect and remember Krishna in everything. Like, then he gave a very beautiful example, like when you see your own kid crawling on the ground, so that time it is to make you remember about Krishna. That so reading the Krishna book is that you can remember Krishna and always in every part of life. So the purpose of human life is only to remember Krishna and associate Krishna, and you know, like to relate Krishna with every small things in our day-to-day life.
Jay, thank you. Very good example. Thank you so much for sharing of the mango. That when we have the real mango, then we don't need the reflection, but with the reflection, we know the real mango is there. So we need to try to see the real mango in every dealing. Thank you so much.
And there's one more thing.
Yes.
You remember, I think there's a story in the South India. There was this devotee who was walking behind in front of her wife, and he was walking, and then Ramanujacharya, he saw that, who's this man? Why is he walking? And let me see what is it. So he said that, oh, my wife has so beautiful eyes that there is nobody. He said, okay, if I show you more beautiful eyes, then will you leave her and give away your wife and follow what I tell you? He said, yeah, I will, because nobody is as beautiful as my wife. He said, okay. And then he took him to, what was it? Is it, which Lord was it? I'm forgetting the name.
Ranganathan should be if it's
Yeah, Ranganathan. Yeah. Ranganathan.
Mm.
And then he took him to the Ranganathan. And when he saw the eyes, beautiful eyes of Ranganathan, he became the devotee and he forgot his. So, like how we are attracted to the females, that is also like how, and then if Guru holds us, if we get the right association, and if we get the Guru association, and if we got the proper Guru, then yes, we can be out of these clutches of Maya. So,
thank you, Jay. Thank you so much. Thank you. So we'll stop here for today. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.